Is Mythic rating, as it currently stands in World of Warcraft, the dragon flight within, is it sustainable or is it not?
Is it dead forever?
So the headline rule states that if the headline is a question, the answer is no. Not quite true here. Not quite true here, because a big statement here from
Big Dumb Gaming Guild.
BDG. And this is a big statement. Big statement. But they're disbanding as a hardcore and race to world first guild. One of the biggest guilds in the world, and just like, nah. To sum this up, it's not really working and we couldn't be bothered.
That's the way to sum it up, but yeah.
So here it's like declining leadership. This is mostly like from Loz's actually own opinion, like as the leader, is like, don't feel the same level of passion from back in the Castle and Sanctum days. Not fair to say it became an obligation, but the passion was gone. Having to change out the officer team, business partner stepping away, etc. It's kind of, it just doesn't feel worth the effort to go in because of the lack of support, both from actual players and from everything else. Core players are just being retiring or burning out or going to the top 3.
It seems like a core problem is the middle is dropping out.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not the middle.
Yeah, they're
like of the top 200, they're high up.
Yeah, they're the very top of the middle.
But I mean, even what Dakar on our team was talking about for like his bunch, again, they're not like the tip top, but they're cutting edge every cutting edge every season. I think they were a feeder for world first guilds at a point anyway, and they're also gone. It does seem that quite a lot of guilds are actually sort of going in that top 200 sphere. So if the middle falls out, then that's going to be a problem.
Because then there's no feeder guilds to feed to the top.
Yep.
There's no top then, oops. With no middle, the top collapses.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is obviously like the losing core players, but then the loss of sponsorship is to do as well. Where it's like, if no one, like the money doesn't come from playing the game.
No.
Where does the money come from? It comes from from creating the entertainment around it.
And like, put it this way, if we do a video that has a sponsor on it, the sponsor will be worth, like multiple times what the video will get in AdSense. And what we do here is only viable because of direct support from members and sponsors. Now, at that, sponsors is currently vastly larger. I want to be able to decrease sponsors and increase direct stuff from our community, because honestly, I don't want to care about views anymore. And AdSense and sponsors are all about views directly with your community, though. That is the people who actually enjoy what you're making. I would far rather be that. Like, as an example, most recent, video we released in the Warcraft channel, like on the YouTube dashboard, 10 out of 10. You go into the comments, loads of people are like, that was really great. I loved it. It's that kind of lore that we enjoy. I'd far rather be, doing that for less people and us all enjoying it more.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like that for them, where like the costs of actually running, especially when you're sort of like Big Dumb, where they're big enough to be able to do sponsors and, to sort of do more sort of org stuff. But, there's them. I mean, Pieces went a while ago. Midwinter went a while ago. Like, of that kind of, those guilds that would be in the top 10, but not the top 3 as much, like, they've been dropping off.
Yeah, and rightly so, because, like, you kind of have to wonder, obviously, like, as to say here, makes it hard for anyone to justify the time commitment outside of extreme passion, which, frankly speaking, most people lose in about 2 tiers. And I see, it was at, point in chat, turns out raiding for 15 hours a day at the start of every tier makes you burn out. It's not even raiding that much, it's also all the prep involved as well, because it's a different story from, like, it's a different story to, you look at, like, the higher end of, like, FF14 Savage Raiders, and a lot of them, like, they'll block book a couple weeks off work. Like, 2 weeks off work, and that's them. Maybe 3. And sometimes, like, we didn't get the kill before our people are back to work. Oh, shit, well, that's it. But there's no, like, insane prep up to that.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of, like, that, but it's not nowhere near as much as get to go do it. And that's, like, substantially more sustainable for them. Obviously, it's less interesting, because obviously there's the whole narrative around building the RPG side of it and all of the splits, and obviously it's a smaller scene in that front, but it is there as like was like, the actual ask is huge. The ask is absolutely massive. But this also has to pay 20 people because of the time required. They have to pay the support staff to make entertainment, because this is also esports at the same time. This is one of the big things about being one of the top guilds. This isn't just them playing the game. It's them playing the game to match people who are playing it full time and running esports orgs and everything as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes, well, if you're not going to be in the top whatever, what's the point?
Yeah,
So
it's damn hard.
Yeah, and it also helps that it's extremely difficult to actually do, which is the insane part. It's a literal hard game. It's extremely hard. Almost too hard, because maybe it's a little bit designed for the absolute insane peak. It's like the difficulty is like, yeah, what if we make our game for 60 people? You're like,
yeah, because like you look at what's required in it is a lot. And actually, well, you know what? We'll skim through. This is something we'll turn into a video. As it is, it's very, very large. It's about 5,000 words. So
this is, and I'll just hide a little bit of that. So this is a 5,500 word essay from our ex-Mythic reader, Dakar.
So our thing basically is, we've been seeing this going on, sort of talking about it, and earlier this week, greenlit a video on it, and the first thing to do is laying out opinions, laying out thoughts based on everything that's happened, which is what this is. So obviously the full video being 5,500 words would be pretty unsustainable.
Yeah,
that'd be very long.
Yeah, this will be.
But so we'll boil things down a little bit. And if we were going through all of the 5,000 words, then this would not really be sort of possible. But basically the point is, number one, Amir Drasil, The Dream's End. That's a really good chapter heading. big agree. But tuning and balancing, right? Basically to talk about things. This is the very short version. Yeah. We will go into depth later. But essentially, right, it feels to a lot of them like things are tuned for a really good Race to World First, where the Race to World First people, they get near maximum gear pretty quick. And then Blizzard chips it away with nerfs. And then that's just that's not a fun place for difficulty to be, Blizzard said, right, back, or Ian said, we'd rather not have to nerf things 20 times for the rank 100, rank 1000, rank 5000 guilds to be able to blaze the same trail afterwards. To which, Dakar was kind of thinking, did they forget they said that?
Yeah, because they just straight up did that straight away again.
And there's more examples of that. So number one, the moving of goalposts, also non-linear progression with wall bosses, and obviously utility being required in a way that's fairly fixed, and something where you've got a very, a fixed team size, to the point where you've got 5 people spare once you've covered your bases, and it's a 20-man comp. Now, moving into some other things then. The prevalence of binary wipe mechanics. And again, this is the Cliff Notes, quick chat about it on the stream before we will publish a more considered piece later. But the prevalence of binary raid wipes again. And, so for Smolderon, there's 1, Tindrel 4, Farak 4, but Ian, they said before, again, in and around Shadowlands, that they don't want to do that anymore because, or not anymore, but, they didn't want that to be as much of a thing because in Sepulchre, it really, really damaged shit.
Yep.
So, then also Private Ores, they've went, the way sometimes... the way a lot of the more the libertarian side would say yes, government intervention to solve the problem will often have the opposite of the intended result. That's kind of happened actually with Private Auras. Where it still means the people with weak aura squads are disproportionately strong, and the rest are still kind of waiting up behind. Just Private Auras don't seem to have worked for a variety of reasons. Raider.io did a big article on this topic as well. I mean, just the start. Most guilds below the Race to World first level must wait for weak auras packages to be released and struggle through Lua codes to get some of them working in the first place, despite in-depth I mean, just what a situation.
How how can you read this and not immediately go, we need to fucking fix this at Blizzard? Numerous guilds lost entire raid nights of valuable for rack progression time because they could not effectively troubleshoot their weak aura packages. Bro, what? Dude, I would nope out so fast. I would some Tom and Jerry Looney Tunes ass shit. Yeah. Where it's like, I've already run out the door and my after image is there and there's like a trail of fire where my feet were. That would be how fast I would nope out. If it was, sorry, you can't play your troubleshooting weak auras instead, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing this.
Like, even just
Go away.
Are private aura coded mechanics still solvable in some way for guilds without a weak aura expert in the midst? Like, if that question is being asked,
then they've fucked their design up so unbelievably badly.
And going to the final thing, there may be middle ground yet between automation, weak auras, and blank slate progression without leaning on third-party solutions, but private auras do not seem to be the answer we were looking for, and maybe Blizzard have came to the same conclusion themselves. This is maybe more relevant because with Emir Drasil, there were more private auras than there were in Aberrus, but of course Aberrus was the first example of that. For other things, mechanic, visual consistency stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty
Talked about that plenty.
That's pretty true. Red boss, red floor, red walls, red lighting, red mechanics, red everything. Smolderon was such a fucking pain in the ass. Let's say his tweets from Smolderon.
Then, of course, right, this is something.
Yeah,
did it matter?
This was me. This was me actually playing this the first time.
Yeah.
Why is everything on fire?
Moving a little bit on, just talking about UI stuff. Where I am now in the user interface, you'll be able to see my little Notion dude.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. 6 miles away.
Oh, Control F. Just Control F user interface. There you go. There's me. Hello. Look at me. I'm running away. No. Anyway, basically, you got to heal the little tree boys and stuff in Laradar.
Yeah.
And you're like, cool. Why is that not easy to do?
Yeah, why do you not have little frames pop up?
Yeah, because me and all the other healers, like, we're doing that based on our unit frames, like mouse over macros or click casting or whatever the hell you're using. So it's really, really annoying when you have to deal with healing the trains, even though I actually love those mechanics.
Yeah, it's just you would want them to show up as like party members or something, or something along those lines.
Yeah, just add them in a flipping frame so I can click on it.
Yeah.
Then talking about chase items, legendaries, the impacts that those end up having.
Oh yeah,
where
just, demoralization, guns shot to the head every time you roll.
Mm-hmm. And then the downsides of the 20-player requirement.
Yeah, this is where I think most of the problem will ultimately lie. 20 players is a fucking lot of players.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just...
FF is 8.
Yeah. So, put it this way. Getting 20 people is not twice as hard as getting 10 people. I don't know how this works. But it seems like with groups...
Yeah, it's not linear, obviously.
With group size scaling, it is maybe not exponential. But it's definitely not linear scaling, the difficulty to organize people.
I mean, in the industry, don't they talk about one producer to 6 or 7 direct reports?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Hang on. Is that 8 people?
Even think about team sizes at work.
It's thinking base 4, not base 5.
Team sizes? For loads of people, right? Mm-hmm. It's basically somebody's like extra job to run a Mythic guild, to run a Mythic team. And that's even in this case, Dakor's Ray leader, like, that was part of it. It was just straight up, I've been doing this for 8 years. I'm tired, boss. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not healthy. If this was 8 people, if it was 10 people, far more healthy. But what about the way that class utility is being handled?
Yeah.
How's that going to interface? Because if you do Mythic 10, you're not going to tick those boxes because in terms of group comp, currently, if you scroll down
you can't bring any...
a little bit, that is one of the typical baseline raid comps.
Yep.
Just so that you've got every unique raid buff and ability. Which...
Well, except for the 2 Augs there.
Yeah. And now
Class.
there's only there's 5 slots left.
Yeah.
Now that is not, think about it, that's not sustainable. And if you want to do 10 so that you got sustainability, now people are juggling the relative strengths of all of these different things. And then that is going to make 10 feel even more fixed and prescriptive.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Donuts is saying 10-man rating is what got us class homogenization for good reason. Because that was how 10-man rating was going to be balanced.
yeah.
Because if you
Kinda
do
have
this,
to be.
if you do this, you can't balance it.
Yeah. So maybe like, how does FF?
Well, I mean, they should be able to, but they can't.
They can't. Yes.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like you just do it for it. You can't really say that. And FF gets with it because it has the party buff. Like everyone has a fixed comp, but it's within categories. Where instead of like that, instead of say where that was assassination, instead like there's the melee group. Imagine if that was, well, obviously that's 2 leather, plate, and a mail. Imagine if it was like, well, you can bring a plate or a mail, or you can bring a leather. And then, like, say you give all the leather melee classes some buff, and you give the plate and mail melee class another buff. And you go, that'll be a little bit closer to how FF works, because FF does it with like, right, well, you're going to bring your, you're going to bring your magic DPS, your physical DPS, you're going to bring your melee, you're going to bring your, your 2 different types of tanks, and you're going to want to bring your shield healer and your pure healer. So it is kind of fixed there, but it goes, well, you've got 2 choices for pure healer, you've got 2 choices for shield healer, multiple choices for DPS, multiple choices for range DPS and physical DPS. You've got multiple choices for that. And obviously, yeah, FF is suffering from it with the 2-minute CD design, but that's different from, well, it's not that different. If you cut class buffs like Mug and stuff like that, you'd get away with the 2-minute problem. If people were responsible for individual DPS, the problem is that the 2-minute CD window came from needing all the damage at the same time to be within everyone's buffs who buff everyone else. So you'd have to cut the support element of buffs to make that actually balanced. But yeah, that's how they do it. But it is ultimately like I'll tell you what it is, Michael. I can't look at this and see an unsolvable problem. Like, you can't tell me you can't just cut 5 arbitrarily off this and 10-man thing and make it work. It feels like, sure, there's some sub-optimization, or you'll be suboptimal, but why can't you just not make that work? Why can't you make
You can.
Yeah.
You can make it work.
Yeah, so that's why I kind of don't...
Problem is design.
Yeah.
How many of the Mythic only designs will you be able to just, half the things and have it still work?
Yeah, well, design it for 10 people. Like,
Yeah.
like just design it different.
There you go.
Just make it different, but good. That would just make it different.
Yeah.
Just make it different and better. And this is where the problem comes from. I think this is, what do you call it?
Do you think Mythic's too hard?
I think Mythic is substantially too hard, because obviously it's way too hard because it requires nerfed to Oblivion consistently. And the problem is that people are raiding for 15, 16 hours a day whenever it's time to raid.
Are Blizzard scared that Max and Scripe will kill it too quickly and it'll be like, why else are they clearly overtuned for the majority of the Mythic playing player base? Because
they're passionate about the Raise the World First and the excellence that they can do.
They keep on saying that it's a community event and they didn't make it, and they absolve themselves from lots of responsibility. Yeah,
but they still want to reap the rewards because
make a fucking choice though.
Tasty.
If you want
rewards.
If you want the game to be better, sacrifice the Race to World First as a multi-week sponsorino event. Yeah, it'll suck for people for whom that's their only business. But you know what? I think they'll be fine. You can't be a one-trick pony, right? That's not a sustainable thing anyway. In Destiny 2, right? Their big race is, that's measured in days. And nobody's it's Destiny. People are furious about everything, but and
rightly so. Destiny did kill video games.
It'll do. So maybe there's a version of Mythic that doesn't lead to as amazing. Because look, everyone was talking about how amazing Amirdrasil was at the start, and it was amazing Race to World First, and yeah, great. And a lot of the people who said that at that time were thought leaders within the community. Well, why now are we seeing lots of criticism be leveled at the tier?
Because
there's a difference between the fucking spectator sport that everyone's enjoying and then the game bit that people play.
Yeah, it's almost like they're now this doesn't really line up, but it's almost as if rules are being changed in games for like the top end and not actually thinking about like how normal people play. It's like I'm trying to think of an example, but I'm not really a huge sports guy, so it doesn't come easy. But imagine things like basketball, where it's like, well, what's like a 3-pointer? Well, we had to nerf those because people at the top end were getting way too good at full court shots because literally just skill got good. And over the course of America, people have started being 7 foot tall now, so they're just like, I just wee, there we go. There's a 3-pointer. So like they just nerf that, and then everyone else who plays the game at like a normal level goes, I'm not taking your fucking rule update, dumbass. I'm gonna play the basketball I like. So I think that's like that's kind of the thing where they're making it for these people and then trying to slim it down and shove it into the box that is other players. That does happen in sports. Yeah, well, it shouldn't. Actually, if you've got an example, that would be nice. I can't remember ever playing a sport and then someone changing the rule because it didn't make sense for, like a normal player. But I feel like the actual solution is definitely just going, what if we drastically rethink this and stop making this for the Race to World first? And now it's kind of the problem.
Bottom up, it should be an emergent community thing, not something that, Blizzard's handling like that, in my opinion.
I think that's where the issue comes, because I feel like the Raid team probably really love doing that. And this is the awkward part, where it's like, I don't want to say developers don't do what you want to do, because then, well, shit. Well, that's your job. It's supposed to be passionate. It's supposed to do things you like, because then you'll put the best work into it. But it is a little bit, what are it called? It feels a little bit shit that so much of the community is suffering for, I guess, this like high end bit. And that's clearly what happened, right? That's clearly what is happening. Because there's no way, because Mythic is not being designed for the average player here. No, well, then the average Mythic player, I should say. Because I don't know if I would not commit to this, but I actually kind of wouldn't mind Mythic raiding if it were 10-man.
Oh, 100%.
But there's no chance in hell would I do it.
I prefer 10. Yeah. It's annoying. Like, what would be ideal? Because we're in this weird position now. Mythic is too hard and inaccessible because of team size and organizational stuff and outside of raid night work requirement. Yeah. But Heroic's too easy.
Yeah, Heroic
is too easy for me now.
It has kind of killed a little bit of what like our guild's playing, that we just walk into Heroic, and even if we don't kill it right away, if we just try, like obviously after a couple of weeks we'll generally kill it, but a lot of the times we kill it just before or just after they go, and it's arbitrary time period, we'll just chop it in half to make it easier, and you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's fine. That's fine.